Thank you for joining this edition of News Today, a series where we briefly discuss and analyze important news of the day. Without delay, let's explore the headlines first. Prime Minister of Greece paid state visit to India. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare notifies Surrogacy Regulation Amendment Rules 2024. Union Cabinet approves continuation of flood management and border areas program. Ministry of Home Affairs has allocated annual fund of Rs 20 crore for support to poor prisoners scheme across states and union territories. Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority notifies a series of amendments. Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority or APEDA has created dedicated organic promotion division. Let us start with the first news for the day. Prime Minister of Greece paid state visit to India. Let us first start by talking about the key highlights of the event. Following to the meet, Greece has decided to join the Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative or IPOI is an initiative of India which builds upon the security and growth for all in the region or the Sagar Initiative, which was announced in 2015. Both the countries have also agreed to collaborate in the Eastern Mediterranean region and advance the development of the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor or the IMEC. The India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor was launched by India on the sidelines of the G20 Leaders Summit in 2023. Furthermore, both countries announced to establish a joint working group to enhance coordination on common challenges in defense, cybersecurity, counter-terrorism and maritime security. They further emphasized the need of an increased cooperation in defense manufacturing. Additionally, the countries reiterated their commitment to double trade between the two nations by 2030. Further, the bilateral trade between India and Greece was $1.9 billion in 2022-23. Now let us have a look at the key aspects of India-Greece relations. Greece is a key partner in the Mediterranean region and acts as a gateway to the European Union. India-Greece relations were further elevated to strategic partnership in 2023. Additionally, Greece supported India's membership in Wassenaar Arrangement and Australia Group. Greece also supports United Nations Security Council expansion with India as a permanent member. And lastly, Greece joined India-led initiatives like International Solar Alliance. In a related news, the Greek Prime Minister was also the chief guest in the 9th edition of the Resina Dialogue. Resina Dialogue is India's flagship conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics, committed to addressing the most challenging issues facing the international community. The theme of the 2024 edition is Chaturang: Conflict, Contest, Cooperate and Create. It is jointly organized by the Ministry of External Affairs and the Observer Research Foundation.
In our next news, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare notifies Surrogacy Regulation Amendment Rules 2024. In exercise of powers conferred under Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021, Government makes following rules to amend Surrogacy Regulation Rules 2022. Couples certified by District Medical Board as suffering from medical conditions do not require both gametes from the intending couple, provided that child to be born through surrogacy must have at least one gamete from the intending couple. Previously, Rule 7 of Surrogacy Regulation Rules 2022 banned the use of donor gametes. Single women, widow or divorcee undergoing surrogacy must use self-eggs and donor sperm to avail surrogacy procedures. In 2023, Supreme Court in Arun Muthuvel vs. Union of India case allowed a woman with Mayer-Rokitansky-Kuster-Hauser syndrome to undergo surrogacy with a donor egg. This syndrome is a rare congenital disorder that affects the reproductive system and causes infertility. Talking about surrogacy, it is a practice whereby one woman bears and gives birth to a child for an intending couple. Further, let's also discuss about Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021. As per the Act, only altruistic surrogacy is allowed and it penalizes commercial surrogacy. Intending couples must be legally married with age limit 23 to 50 for female and 26 to 55 for male and must not have a surviving child. A surrogate mother must be a married woman having a child of her own and between the ages of 25 to 35 years.
In our next news, the Union Cabinet approves continuation of flood management and border areas program. Let us first start by talking about the Flood Management and Border Areas Program or FMBAP. The program continuation has been approved for a period of 5 years from 2021 to 22 to 2025-26. It was initially launched during the 11th five-year plan. This program aims to supplement the efforts of the state governments to protect human life, land and property from flood fury by providing technical guidance and financial assistance. It also promotes bilateral cooperation in the field of water resources with neighboring countries. Further, let us talk about the key features of the scheme. It is a centrally sponsored scheme working under the Ministry of Jal Shakti. Its subcomponents are the Flood Management Program and River Management and Border Areas. The Flood Management Program covers the critical works related to flood control, anti-erosion, drainage development and anti-sea erosion. It gets its funding with a ratio of 90:10 between centre and 8 northeastern states and hilly states. For other states, the ratio is 60:40. A total of 427 projects have been completed under the scheme till now. Now coming on to the River Management and Border Areas component. It covers flood control and anti-erosion works on the common border rivers with neighboring countries. It also includes provision for managing the hydrological observations and flood forecasting. Additionally, there are provisions of investigation and pre-construction activities of joint water resources projects with neighboring countries on common border rivers. And lastly, talking about its funding pattern, 100% central assistance is provided.
Moving on to the next news. Ministry of Home Affairs has allocated annual fund of Rs 20 crore for support to poor prisoners scheme across states and union territories. This scheme will provide relief to poor prisoners who are either unable to pay the fine imposed on them or are unable to secure bail due to financial constraints. Prisoners or persons detained therein is a state subject. Support for the poor prisoner scheme was announced in the Union Budget 2023-24. Through this, the Ministry of Home Affairs will enable underprivileged prisoners, majority of whom belong to socially disadvantaged or marginalized groups with lower education and income levels, to get out of prison. It will also solve the problem of overcrowding in jails. Now let's discuss and understand the guidelines and standard operating procedure for implementation of this scheme. The National Crime Records Bureau has been designated as the central nodal agency. Funds to states or UTs will be provided through Central Nodal Agency. An empowered committee will be constituted in each district of state or UT, which will assess the requirement of financial support in each eligible case of a prisoner for securing bail. Also, an oversight committee may be constituted at state government level. Moreover, maximum assistance would be Rs 40,000 for under-trial prisoners and Rs 25,000 for convicted prisoners. For any amount over and above Rs 40,000 and Rs 25,000, the proposal may be approved by the state-level oversight committee. Further, if we talk about some other measures taken to improve condition of prison and prisoners, then these include Model Prisons Act 2023 for ensuring transformation of inmates into law-abiding citizens and their rehabilitation in society. Fast-track courts to expedite trial of pending cases. National Human Rights Commission to protect basic rights of prison. And Model Prison Manual 2016, which provides detailed guidelines on facilities which may be provided to under-trial inmates.
Moving on to the next news. Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority notifies a series of amendments. These amendments are in line with the Union Budget 2023-24 announcements to review the regulations to reduce the cost of compliance and enhance the ease of doing business, further enhancing the transparency in the whole ecosystem. Let us first start by talking about the key reforms in the amendments. In case of National Pension System Trust, the amendments strengthened the provisions related to the appointments of trustees, their terms and conditions, holding of meetings of Board of Trustees and appointments of CEO. National Pension System was introduced by the Union Government in 2004 to help the individuals to have income in the form of pension. Also, the Pension Fund Scheme has been brought under the ambit of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. Reforms include the constitution of additional board committees by pension funds such as Audit Committee and Nomination and Remuneration Committee. This aims to improve governance in line with Companies Act 2013 and enhanced disclosure by pension funds. With regard to the trustee bank, as per the amendments, when the trustee bank proposes to change its status or constitution, it shall obtain prior approval of the PFRDA. Amendments also include the implementation of fraud prevention and mitigation policy by the Central Record Keeping Agency to protect the interest of subscribers, and introduce the criteria of fit and proper person similar to SEBI's initiative. If we talk about the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, it is a statutory body established under the PFRDA Act 2013. Its objective is to promote old age income security by establishing, developing, and regulating the pension funds. And it works under the Ministry of Finance.
Moving on to the next news. Agriculture and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, or APIDA, has created a dedicated organic promotion division. This division is now serving as a focal point for coordinating efforts to promote the country's organic export potential. APIDA also formulated a roadmap to push organic exports from Uttarakhand and Sikkim, focusing on enhancing farming practices, optimizing certification procedures, and identifying prime export products. Sikkim is the first organic state of India. If we talk about organic farming, then it is a sustainable agriculture system that excludes use of synthetic inputs in farming and relies on on-farm inputs like crop residues, farmyard manure, and enriched composts for nutrient management of crops. If we discuss some facts related to organic farming, then India is ranked 6th in terms of world's organic agricultural land as per 2021 data. Madhya Pradesh is the largest producer of organic products, followed by Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Karnataka, and Odisha. Organic products are exported to the USA, Canada, Great Britain, Switzerland, Turkey, Australia, and Ecuador. Further, if we have a look at the significance of organic farming, then these include improved soil fertility, reduced erosion, lower environmental pollution, and reduced greenhouse gases. There are also some challenges associated with organic farming, like yield of organic farming is around 18.4% lower than that of conventional farming. There is high certification cost and inadequate supporting infrastructure. Also, it requires more time for observation, timely control, and intervention, and it is naturally more labor intensive. At last, now let's have a look at the initiatives taken to promote organic farming. Emphasis on revising National Program for Organic Production guidelines to bolster accessibility of organic products in international markets. The National Program for Organic Production is involved in accreditation of certification bodies, fixing standards for organic production and packaging. There is Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana 2015, Mission Organic Value Chain Development for Northeast Region, and Javik Kheti Organic e-commerce portal of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. The place in news for today is Albania with its capital Tirana. It is in the news as Albania has announced to open an embassy in India. Talking about its political features, it is located in southeastern Europe in the Balkan Peninsula. It shares land borders with Montenegro in the northwest, Kosovo in the northeast, North Macedonia in the east, and Greece in south and southeast. It is surrounded by the Adriatic Sea in the west and Ionian Sea in the southwest. Talking about its geographical features, physiographically, about 3/4 of its territory consists of mountains and hills, and the remainder consists of coastal and alluvial lowlands. Its major rivers are Drin, Seaman, and Shkumbin. Its highest point is Mount Korob, and it has a Mediterranean climate type.
As we conclude today's main news, let's take a look at some quick updates. According to the report, India's venture debt market raised $1.2 billion in 2023, which is a 50% surge from 2022. In it, consumer and fintech emerged as the top sectors for raising funds through venture debt. Venture debt is a type of financing often used by early-stage startups that do not yet have a proven track record of generating revenue. Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship launched Rashtriya Udyamita Vikas Pariyojana under the Skill India mission, which is tailored specifically for beneficiaries of PM Swanidhi or the Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi scheme. The scheme offers individuals with comprehensive entrepreneurship training for over a period of 22 weeks, combining theoretical knowledge with practical exposure through experimental learning. Hyderabad-based International Crops Research Institute for Semi-Arid Tropics announces the world's first pigeon pea speed breeding protocol. This protocol will further shorten breeding cycle from 13 years to 2 to 4 years and will strengthen food security in Asia and Africa. Coal or lignite public sector undertakings have adopted the Miyawaki plantation method in its suitable areas. Miyawaki plantation is based on the work of Japanese botanist Akira Miyawaki, which enhances green cover within a limited area and establishes dense forest in 10 years. It involves cultivating multi-layered forests that exhibit rapid growth and replicate natural biodiversity found in native forests. The scientists have discovered the anatomy behind the songs of baleen whales. They have found that they use a larynx or voice box anatomically modified to enable the underwater vocalization. Talking about the baleen whale, there are 14 species of the baleen whale. All species of baleen whales are listed under CITES Appendix 1, prohibiting its international trade. The Union Cabinet approved funds for implementing the umbrella scheme for safety of women for the period of 2021 to 22 to 2025 to 26. Under Ministry of Home Affairs, its objective is to strengthen mechanism in states and union territories for ensuring timely intervention and investigation in case of crime against women and crime prevention in such matters. Cabinet Committee on Security has cleared the acquisition of over 200 BrahMos extended range supersonic cruise missiles for Navy. The BrahMos missile is developed under the joint venture agreement between India and Russia. It is a supersonic cruise missile which travels at a speed of around 2 to 3 Mach. According to the World Health Organization, world is near to eradicate the guinea worm disease. The guinea worm disease is an infection caused by parasite Dracunculus medinensis. It spreads by drinking water containing guinea worm larvae. It affects people in rural, deprived and isolated communities who depend mainly on open stagnant surface water sources like ponds. Before we go, it's time to put your knowledge to test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed this edition of News Today. To get the answers to today's quiz and to download the PDF of News Today, make sure to check out the links in the description below.